platform where they're in control. Creators can bring their creativity on chain and make sure that they're the ones benefiting. Everyone everywhere gets the same access, no matter where you're born, no matter where you live. This is the future of the internet. This is on chain.
Hey, greetings, Shabs. Greetings, everybody
Right.
that's joining us. Back for another
How's
session,
everybody doing?
building on pace. I'm all right, man. How you doing on your end?
Good. Yeah, can't complain. I guess we're matching today, yeah? We
Yeah.
all decided to go dark.
It's a
Uh,
funeral.
Bruh. Nah, I
Whose
think
app died? I don't know which app we're mourning today, but it must be OpenAI.
why would you call them out, bruh? Why would you call them out? Uh,
Didn't you see after that whole debacle with Anthropic went to number one after they
yeah,
refused to to use it for military reasons. And I think ChatGPT had like over 200,000 uninstalls or something. So
what?
yeah,
That is crazy. That
yeah,
is
there's something
crazy.
crazy like that, right? I'm not
Yeah.
sure if I got the numbers correctly, but it was like an astronomical figure for uninstalls due to, something like that. But, that's where the world
Who would
is
have
right now,
thought
right?
it? Who would have thought the impact would have been that great? You know,
Yeah, I mean,
people are
we gotta
more,
look at what's happening right now, you
yeah,
know? We're, there's a lot of, things going on. So you can imagine a lot of users and developers in those countries,
yeah,
the
no,
sentiments that they
absolutely,
feel. So we won't
yeah,
talk about it in details, obviously, but, if you know, you know.
yeah. No, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Uh,
I see Lloyd
Lloyd,
has
how
joined
you
us.
doing?
Lloyd, how you doing, my guy?
Hey guys,
Lloyd, are you with
BM.
us?
Yeah,
Hey, how
I'm
are you,
doing
bro?
good. I'm doing great, guys. Don't know how you guys are doing. Caught you guys talking about something that
Yeah,
sounds interesting.
yeah, I would dress for a funeral. We're mourning, ChatGPT. But
Uh,
yeah, just
That's
kidding, man.
insane.
Now, no,
but
we're all good.
you know what's interesting? Did you see what
Hmm.
Anthropic did as well from a memory perspective? The feature that
No.
they added
Oh, yeah.
to that was crazy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The fact
So
that you
they're
you
allowing
can
people
export,
to,
yeah, because so you
yes,
you
they're
could
allowing
do it
people to port.
already, but it was a little bit intricate, right? You
Mm,
needed to go through like the back end of any commercial model, not just ChatGPT. You needed to go through the back and figure out one or two things, right? But the fact that Anthropic realized that memory is a thing, and they went and created basically a one liner to help you export your memory from another model, and it's not specific to ChatGPT, it could be anyway, and then export it into Anthropic. That's a game changer, you know, because now
so
you
they're
can
basically
carry.
allowing,
Yeah, go ahead.
that's what I was gonna say. So they're basically allowing users to move their history in ChatGPT or in Gemini from those platforms or in Copilot onto Claude
Yes.
.ai.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the understanding is there's a silo of tools across the internet that a user uses, which is normal. We all understand it. Like I use Gemini for more of my research. I use ChatGPT as well. I use Grok sometimes. I use Anthropic. But for one model to be able to give you that capacity to do it seamlessly, I think that's a differentiator. So they just close the gap between you having to go through multiple screens and basically taking a prompt which they can generate for you, and you stick it into whatever commercial model, extract the information, and then you run that prompt um, in Anthropic, and there you go. It's literally easy as that, and I think that makes a big difference.
So
Yeah.
does it get like does when it comes to like the memory part of like exporting, is it like the way you're able to export like everything you've ever had a conversation with ChatGPT from the first, or is it more of like a summarized version of that into something that kind of Claude can
It's
use to kind of understand you more,
it's
or
it's
is
a
it have to do with
summarized version of that so that Claude will understand you, and couple whatever your um, behaviors and mindsets are on other solutions or other models to Claude so that it can have a fuller picture. Because remember, we do different things on different models, right?
yeah?
Like I say, I code on the one, I research on the other, I research more people specific sort of things like on Grok because, I think they are a bit closer to the end user because of X, and
Yes.
I can find more real time relevant sort of user um, sort of feelings um, based on their model, right? So I've got
Yeah.
different things from all these different models because I model root based on different performance capabilities. Now, if I can take that brain that I've built with Grok, the brain that I built with Gemini, the brain that I built with ChatGPT easily and put it into one, and then they get to do everything, that is massive. That is massive. And I think that's a push across the industry. It's not even just, just from a commercial model. Um, I heard a lot about Obsidian, which I haven't used, which is basically trying to do the same. But this Obsidian lives on your dashboard. So you're allowed to actually create a memory bank, a second brain for all these different platforms into one, and you can export that into the various areas so that you don't have to repeat yourself when you get started into any interaction with a chat interface. So it knows already Shabs likes these sort of things, and it's prefaced that. And when I start, I have that memory bank already baked in because Obsidian is actually taking care of that. So I think that there's going to be a push for the memory element of different models.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Nice.
that sounds
Let
very
me
interesting.
quickly let me quickly play a disclaimer. Thanks for that, Shabs. And then we jump straight into all of today's conversations, right?
Today's conversation is for
Yes, sir.
information and educational purposes only. It does not constitute financial, technical, or legal advice. The views expressed are our own and do not represent Base, Coinbase, or any affiliated platforms.
Right. Okay. Okay. So base batches is still a thing. I think there's like 5 or 6 days to go for the startup track. still a lot of time for the the student track, and a bit more time, a bit less, but quite a lot of time as well for the robotics track. Okay.
Yeah.
And since we have Lloyd here today, Lloyd, we didn't really get to speak much on robotics, right? So I'm hoping that since you are involved in that track, we could sort of talk about that robotics track, what it
Okay.
looks like, what it entails. Maybe you can give some pointers to anyone building in that space. And then, yeah, then after that, we can recap on, things like Nana, how to quickly build a mini app, where to generate some assets. We'll give you guys a tool where to generate your app assets. This is like your images, your logos, and all the creatives that are required for your mini apps. We got to look at an alternative to for creating OpenClaw agents online. We're going to look at an alternative platform that I came across. I haven't used it, but we'll try and do this in real time. Yeah, and then we'll also look at Claude.ai, which I think was launched recently or relaunched recently, which is a platform to, it's kind of like ChatGPT online, right? So you can you can build things, you can do coding there. What else? I think there's also Vercel online. Not Vercel online, sorry, VS Code online. It's hardly talked about. VS Code Web. So she'll show you guys a link to VS Code for web. And then, yeah, I think that will sort of cover, the summary of what's happening. Yeah. So maybe Lloyd, let's just start with you in terms of like base batches. How's your build experience going? Are you still doing the robotics track? And then can we talk about robotics as well?
Yeah, definitely we can. Yes, I'm still doing the robotics track. And only because I thought it was very interesting that they actually added it, especially that we live in an age where AI is becoming way more used by the ordinary human being. So I thought of just applying for the robotics track because I have played around with like AI for a while. I think I've mentioned that a couple of times. Been playing around with AI since like 2017, and for this particular track, I'm thinking more of architecture level of like implementation. So I don't really want to jinx my project, but I can still mention what it's about. So it's going to be more on, I would say, like the software side of like the robotics, which is architecture. So I'll be submitting a project that does some interesting things when you mix it with AI robots. I won't really mention about robots, but basically that's what my project is going to be about. So currently there are ways to experiment. If, for example, if you want to participate in this particular track, maybe it's the first time, you've got a great idea. One way to I would say play around with actual versions of these robots is by going to like the Unitree website. So maybe you can go there.
Okay, I saw they've got a DIY. Let me see. So DIY quadruple robots. Okay.
Yeah, so Unitree is one of the, I think one of the leading companies, apart from companies like Boston Dynamics and a few others that are, springing up. So these guys create different types of like robots, from like, you know, robot dogs like this quadruped, and you know, to humanoid robots, you know. So if you know, would like to experiment with this, I would say track, you can easily come to this website and then go to the humanoid robot that is the G1, and then try to look at the source code. So the company has got has open sourced the like visual language model, which powers, you know, the robots in these machines, that you can, you know, kind of play around with, you know, in different ways, you know, to try to create things like policies. Yeah, so this is the robot that you can you know, that you're going to use if you actually get picked for the track. So what I did instead was I decided to just go ahead and start experimenting with the actual robots themselves by using platforms like Isaac Sim. So Isaac Sim is a simulation package by NVIDIA that enables you to play around with these robots in a simulated environment. For example, if you'd like to teach them, you know, like new features, or you'd like to teach them how to do particular, you know, or just new skills, you can sync them to an actual robot and, you know, test them out in a simulated platform, which ends up mapping them onto like the visual language model. Or you can play around with it in simulation, and when you're ready, use the same data or the same policy that you used in the simulation, and, you know, transfer it to the visual language model that the robot can use. So Unitree has open sourced their visual language model. It's on the GitHub. Let me just,
Oh, so there's a GitHub. Okay, let's have a look
yeah.
at the
So in the
bottom.
website, you can say www.unitree.com/G1, and you should see a part that says download.
Unitree.com
Yeah.
/G1.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the same place where we were. We said there was a download, right?
Yeah, there's supposed to be a download.
Oh, download over there. Okay, download G1. Okay,
Okay.
right.
Have you seen it?
Yeah. Can you see my screen, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can
Okay,
see
so
it.
you can click
Okay.
you can click the part that says OS. I think that's what it should be, operating system. On top.
Okay, it's got iOS, Android.
Oh no, on
Uh,
top, where it says download, explore services, OS in the header.
In the middle.
Before, yeah, before
Okay.
the
OS. Okay. All right. There we go.
yeah, so there you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Official open
so
source. Mm-hmm.
yes, there's different types of like I would say simulators, or, you know, visual environments where you can play around with these robots, you know, on your device, whether it's a PC or, you know, it's a server. So you can use things like Mujoko. So Mujoko is also a simulator, like the way Isaac Sim is. You can use the OpenAI's is it PyGym for that as well, and yeah, a few other, you know, platforms. So for me, basically, I would say if you are somebody who's into, you know, robotics, most of this stuff is already something that you know, are already familiar with. So I would say for this track, maybe try to find ways of you know, looking at things that people haven't yet done before, you know, with these like machines, or maybe looking at particular ideas that haven't yet really been explored, that the wider robotics market would find interesting or useful. Because like I mentioned, with the way AI is like improving, we have a lot of companies that are putting a lot more, I would say, effort, funding, and investing in more physical hardware than software. And we can see that from like companies like Tesla and like Pi. Everybody's trying to go into the physical hardware space. So
Mm.
if people are developing hardware, then you can leverage that by finding ways of coming up with creative ideas, of how you can create software that helps these machines to, whether it's learn better, or like what Shabs was talking about, in terms of like memory. Like that's still something that we've solved but still haven't solved. So you can find ways of experimenting with that. If you look at the robotics track, it says you'll be, if you're chosen, you'll be given, I think, access to 30 unitary G1 humanoids, and obviously you're going to be working with like teams that are also going to be picked to kind of work together on like a particular project. So I think for this particular track, thinking of ideas, of how you can build, or ideas on how you can make these robots do particular tasks better, would be one of those sections that you can look at if you decide to do the robotics team track.
Just a
So
question there. Just a question, Lloyd. Since it's saying that people that are chosen will be given access to these G1 humanoids, does it then mean that anyone developing this should be looking at the G1, should be doing something around the G1, or should they be building anything? Should the focus be on G1? Like, what do you think is the idea around this,
okay, so
considering this is
for
tied to the price?
yeah, okay, so like for me personally, what like the approach that I decided to take is, because you're going to be given access to this particular set of robots, I personally just thought, okay, so rather than experimenting with like other humanoids, I would rather just directly start experimenting with this particular set of humanoid robots, because that's still the end goal, right? So, for example, if it's difficult for these guys to maybe have an internal state that persists when they're off, or when I switch them off, maybe working on something that does that would be a good idea, because then it enables something that people in the robotics sector have been trying to solve. So kind of hinting at stuff that I'm going to work on, but
Mhm.
yeah, so you basically look at what the robotics sector is facing, and how you can help make it better. If you go to the website, the same Unitree website, you do have a place where people tend to post some of like their work, some of like the research, some of the ideas, just kind of give you maybe like an idea of what you can also build for. But I feel like if you haven't had lots of experience, but you still have like a great idea that you think, can still be added, I think you should still apply, like considering that all the teams that will be picked to end up working on like this kind of like project together. So if you have, sometimes you can have like great ideas, but you don't really know how to code, or you might maybe be able to have maybe be good at like physical robotics, rather than like the software side, I feel like you can still apply. It isn't just like a software track. So I feel like anybody with great ideas in the robotics field can, bring them and apply. And you never know. You might just have the idea that we've all been waiting for. But it's very interesting to see just how far, these particular humanoids have come and what you can do with them. Yeah.
Do you think is there currently a use case for this robot besides being a very nice, expensive like toy? Is there anything that has been found yet? Is there a use case for it? Like, can it do anything
Okay.
outside of these like dances and
Okay. So with these particular robots, it depends on what you personally want to use it for. Some people might use it for like, sort of like a personal butler, like you can see in this video. They're just showing it, I don't know what it's cracking, nutcrackers, or as a sort of butler. But like for these particular robots, especially for like a developer, I feel like the limit depends on just what you can code. Like if you play around with like its vision language model, you can create policies for these robots, and policies can be like, cooking, walking, jumping, learning in real time. So, or you can just come up with more creative skills for it to do stuff for you. So they do have use cases, and yeah, it just depends on what you want to use them for. Personally, I feel like if you're a coder, you have way more, you have like a bigger advantage, because you get to experiment with it like in real time. But if you're not a coder, the more updates come out, the more these models get updated, the more things it's able to do. But yeah, so far,
where's the website? Sorry, where's the website where people can check like the use cases that other people have been finding so far?
Okay, so you have to go to the actual website. So this is the store part of the website where if you'd like to purchase what's still on the.
So
maybe we can click home.
Unitree. Oh, Unitree.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I think you're on the right part now. Unitree.com. G1.
Okay.
Okay, so you can click the part that says Uni4 LM.
This one, yeah.
Yeah.
Uniform. Okay.
Yeah, it should take you to a site. Yeah, so there you go. So on this website,
I'm going to translate it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just that part that's Chinese. Okay. Oh, some parts are Chinese. Let me see if I can translate it quickly. Where's my translator?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like it's translated. Parts of it is in Chinese, but anyway, Mandarin, I guess. I'm not sure. Or the whole thing, actually. Why is it not translating? Yeah. I think my translator
Oh,
is
there you go.
not...
In your browser, the part that says uni.com, you have, is it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, we're good now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're good. So this website here has got things like papers, data sets. So you can see when you click like humanoid, you've got open source systems. So this is basically a part where people will share some of like, the work that they've done with these robots. For example, I want to train a robot to pick goods. Does any take? Okay, that was like a question. But in here you find like papers, for example, that people have written and that show like skills that they've created. So you can move around, you can go to data sets. Yeah, you're going to have to
Okay, so I guess people will have to translate. If you want to find translate, guys, you can find it on your browser. Just click on the three dots on the top right, scroll down, there's translate over there. And then when you find your translate, you need to click on English over there. Then it's going to translate the whole page.
Yeah.
Okay,
Also,
so yeah.
just so this was just a question. So you can go
Mhm.
back to like the
Yeah,
website and you
okay.
can go to like the data sets. You can look at like some of the other projects that people have done by playing around with like the open source code for um these particular robots. So most of this stuff might look like gibberish to people because maybe they're not really into robotics or AI. But I mean, with
Mhm.
AI models out there, you can still, teach yourself some of these things, uh,
Mhm.
and start experimenting with this like robotics. So just a heads up, if you would like to, let's say for example, you play around with the vision language model for the robot and you would like to test it, then you can use platforms like I mentioned, like Isaac Sim or Mujoko. If your PC is small, the best would be to just hire a server. So for that, you can use Amazon's web servers and then just simply, set up Isaac Simulator in there, and you'll be able to have like a virtual environment in which you can play around with these robots. So you don't necessarily need to buy the actual robot, like I mentioned. You can still be able to experiment with it and get the exact same results, or at least, you know, extremely close to the actual physical robot. So it gives
Mhm.
anyone the opportunity to just play around um, with these, at least from the software, and see how it would work in like the virtual environment. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see this thing dance on my piano. So if somebody out there is gonna make this thing dance on my piano, sing on my piano, become a DJ, they will bring to South Africa, will throw crazy parties, bruh.
Yeah. So you see that.
For me, that's a
So
good
that
use case.
that checkerboard part you saw, that's a virtual or simulation where you can see what it's doing here physically. You see,
Mm,
playing with the
yeah,
stick. So it's going to show you this is what this was when they were training it, or
okay.
experimenting with it in the virtual simulation. So all this you can play around with it in the virtual simulation before you actually
Where's
test
that?
it out.
Where's the virtual simulation? Sorry.
That's platforms like Isaac Simulator. So just search for Isaac
Oh, okay.
Simulator to just see
Okay,
um
Isaac
simulator.
Simulator,
Yeah, it's an NVIDIA
NVIDIA.
platform.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's stuff.
Okay, so this is it. Okay, so when you add your code, then you simulate it online, and then you're able to like view it as you simulate or something like that. Is that how it
Yeah, like
works?
you're able to play around with like a virtual environment where you have a virtual version of the robot. So like
Okay.
I mentioned, I just used like my own initiative to say, okay, let me play around with like um the Unity G1, considering that those are the robots that you'll be given access to if you're picked, and working on
Mm,
that directly and on like a use case, I thought was like way better than just me experimenting with like any other like ideas for like different types of like humanoid robots or quadrupeds. So yeah, that was like my main look and use case.
okay. So and then you
Yeah.
can download this from GitHub.
Yeah. So if
Is
you're
there one
running this
that's online?
locally on your computer, um
Mhm.
you have to use a server unless you've got um a pretty decent machine. So the minimum specs you need to run this locally is an RTX 4080. So that's quite hefty for most people. So that's why if you want to still play around with this, you can use very light simulators like Mujoko. Mujoko is super light, but still requires a pretty decent, graphics card. So maybe an RTX, 4060, and RTX maybe 3060 should be able to kind of do the trick. But if you don't have that particular hardware, the best is to use a server to kind of handle all that for you, and then you can still use a very lightweight machine and still be able to play around with it.
Is there
I
no
think
virtual one that's accessible via web browser? Like
no.
where they don't need to install anything, they can change the code and check it out online.
For virtually, no. You'd have to run it as a server, at least as far as the ones that I use. Maybe there is something out there, but the only thing is they would require they'll still require like a server because of just the amount of, I would say, GPU you need to kind of run these simulations, because they're very realistic physics, like you can see, and what you get in the simulation is like 98%, if not slightly a bit more. So yeah, most I think of the world's leading AI robotics use platforms like Isaac Sim and Mujoko for these simulations. So yeah, I'm hoping
I could see.
maybe
Sorry, go ahead, please.
and I was saying I'm hoping maybe during like the builder hours, I'll see how my project will be going along. Maybe I can show you like I can show you guys like a slight sample of like how this looks like in like the virtual environment, and maybe test out like a few things. So let's see if we can do that on Thursday, just to get people to have like a visual look. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So Shabs, what use cases can you see with this thing? I can see this thing like leading gym classes, like from an entertainment perspective. I'm talking about where we are now, right? Like, if you've watched how these things are, like how they operate in the real world, they're pretty much, you can see where they're going. But for now, I think I can see the entertainment value for this. We've seen those kung fu ones. You could see these things doing like the gym routines. You could see this doing entertainment. Especially for the Gen Z, right? The Gen Z are very like, they are stuck at home, they're online, they're not exercising. Obesity is a big problem. If governments invest in these things and then they get to this environment where these things are leading like gym sessions, they are playing with them, they are interacting in the physical environment. I think that can be like, like how we go to the mall and go ice skating and go to bounce on trampolines, there's a lot of these, even that ninja thing, the active ninja course. We have those things in the malls. So I can foresee something where this has that type of entertainment value for young people, which interact, it can be part learning, part exercise, like where this thing is leading a gym class or is teaching kung fu to kids, that sort of thing. So definitely the entertainment value is there. It can be franchised. So you could get a couple of these
Google
and franchise.
also.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that. So this isn't like their most advanced robot. So this is just one of like the robots that they actually have. And the only reason why we're concentrating on this particular robot is simply because it's what you'll be given access to if you're picked for the track. So that's the only reason why like we looked at this. But they do have slightly way more advanced robots which have like a lot more better use cases if you're looking for use cases. Like if you can go to the website and look at the Unitree H2.
Mhm. Yeah, I see this one is popular with the streamers, this Unitary G1. All the
Yeah,
streamers have
yeah.
been kicking it
H2.
around, boxing it. Oh, you want us to look at the
Yeah, look at
H2.
the H
Okay.
series. Yeah, so this
Yeah,
is a
this one
bit
is looking
more.
like it's looking like iRobot. I don't know if you watched that movie, iRobot. They made it
So
exactly like
so
iRobot.
so if you scroll down the bottom, you will see like some of the things it can do. This is a bit more
Oh,
advanced,
doing ballet.
and
Okay, this is pretty impressive.
oh
Okay, so this is
yeah,
a Kung
it's
Fu one. Hey,
yeah,
this one
so
can be a bodyguard, man. This one can be a bodyguard.
so it's got like some, like some use cases. And yeah, most of these I think will be used also, like if you go to industry. I can see that they use the robot quadrupeds, this ones that look like drones for like fire rescue. So I feel like the better they get, the more they'll tend to do some of those use cases that we've been given, like humans to do. Like I mentioned, but whether it's butler work or whether it's tending to your garden, checking your mail, basically stuff that we let other people do for us. Like a long time ago, we had somebody type or check your mail for you, like a secretary. But like now with tools like Claude and ChatGPT or OpenClaw, they tend to do some of those use cases that humans were, once doing. So yeah, I feel like that's where most of these are going. And in the last couple of years, I think the last 2 years, I think we've seen like a really huge boom in like the robotics industry. Like before, it was like AI and that was just for nerds and maybe Jets class special kids. But now we're seeing like a lot more. Um, I would say like um, views and a lot more people trying to play around with like robotics. So yeah.
Oh, this one's
And
$4,900. Okay, this one's cheaper.
yeah, and also if you're in Africa and you're submitting for this track, it would actually be very interesting to meet people, in the base ecosystem that are interested in stuff like this, even from anywhere around the world. If you want to chat, feel free to hit me up and we can nerd around. But like if you're specifically like from Africa, I would like to definitely, have a conversation, you know,
Mm.
with you about, stuff like this. So feel free to hit me up anytime.
Okay. So this one does not necessarily need to use base blockchain or anything, right? The base chain or any base tools. It's just that virtuals is a big part of the base ecosystem. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
There's no
But
no real transaction layer, but you can add that, I
you
suppose.
can add that. Like for
Yeah.
example, like I said, I just didn't really want to like talk about like certain parts because then they start revealing like kind of like what my project is about. But I will still give you guys like ideas. Like for example, um, I feel like it would be interesting to see a use case where, let's say, somebody um, tends to log maybe like what the robot does, on chain. Like maybe every after a task, it can use maybe the base blockchain to like, uh, make a transaction that says, "Oh, I'm done with my task," and this is like stored on the base blockchain as like maybe proof of work or something. So like there's so many things you can play around um, with. Like you can give this AI robot like an AI agent wallet that it can have
Mm.
access to. So that way it's got like actual, I would say, access to money. You can send it to the store and it can buy you something, or it can order something for you online, or just have access to like the base blockchain. So it just depends on like how you want to use it, but it's very possible, and I think that's also something that people can look at if you're um, applying for this robotics track, maybe finding a way to incorporate the base blockchain in ways like that. So yeah.
I remember 20 years ago there was this robot called what was this thing called? Was it called Nemo? It was like a laughing teddy bear, but it had all
Mm,
these actions. You could tickle it, and it was being used for kids that had depression, right? You have some babies maybe where the mom rejected the child, or maybe the child was abused or whatever. So in
yeah.
preschool, some preschools at the time were buying those. Actually, I remember I wanted to buy it for my son at the time, but then he didn't like that. He liked little cars, because this thing could laugh, and it was a joy to be around it, because it would
Yeah.
laugh and it throws stuff down, like it really looked like a cartoon, but in real life, right? And
Yeah.
then the same company released a dog version, a small dog. These were very small, maybe the size of like a laptop in terms of height. So the dog also, you could pet it. It had a tail. It wags its tail. It sits down, makes barking noises. It follows you around. So these pets were being used to cure largely depression in kids. So that was a very good use case. I have no idea what happened to those things because they were very, very very popular at the time. And they were very
Mm,
affordable because I wanted to buy one at the time and it was like, I'd say it was probably around $100 US, equivalent at that
okay.
time. So it was very advanced for that time,
That's
right?
great.
Because
Yeah,
it had like
it
sensory
was.
touch. You touch it, it can feel you're patting it.
Yeah,
And then
that's
if you
that
tickle
that
it,
was
it
advanced.
laughs. Yeah. So you can see how far we've come. But I think if people, considering people nowadays, I think for that era there were not so many people dealing with depression and all these things, right? But
Yeah.
nowadays people are more online, and we're dealing with a lot of human sociological issues right now, right? So I
Mm,
think bringing back those capabilities to the modern robots that we have can help a lot. If imagine if this is inside a school and kids are dealing with things like bullying, they're dealing with depression, they're dealing with lots of issues. So when you start
yeah.
to incorporate these in those interactive spaces, it allows kids just to open up because it worked very well 20 years ago, right? So yeah, so I wonder what this could be. So probably those are some of the use cases where we're looking at these
Oh yeah.
robotics to deal with sociological issues in our society. Perhaps not so much the kung fu and the entertainment value. So that's one use case I'm picking up. Yeah.
Yeah, and another
Yeah.
another thing is I feel like some of the use cases maybe momentarily are maybe kind of limited due to like things like battery life for like some of these robots, so maybe we'll see a lot more, use cases as well, um if we get more like battery life in these humanoid robots. And I feel like that's kind of like what this is also kind of like about. Like if you see the part that says if you have like any idea, if you have an idea or are already building, have experience in robotics or have a strong demonstrated interest. So you see, you don't necessarily have to be an expert, but if you are somebody who's really got a genuine interest, you feel like you've got some ideas that you know um might work, or if you feel like everybody who's been building humanoid robots who've been building like the wrong way, maybe you've got the idea of saying, oh, why are we building robots that seem to struggle with walking when we can just create like a fake skeleton, put electrodes, and then just put like
Yes.
yeah, and it's able to move like us. Like it's a very radical idea, but it's something that maybe
And I
you
mean,
can
come to
test
think
out.
of it,
So
if like, why can't we wear the robots as a suit, and it is an exoskeleton type of thing as well, right? To
I'm
enhance movement. People
there
who,
are
who
some
can't walk, you
companies, I
know.
think, who've
Yeah.
who are kind of working on something
But
similar.
making it affordable is also key, right? So I
Yeah.
suppose someone building from our side of the world, we're actually at an advantage because we face a lot of challenges in our side of the world, right?
Or like prosthetics
What's
as well,
basic automation? Sorry?
like if you could prosthetics, like if you could create like just like
Exactly.
robotic arms that people
Yeah.
who don't have like limbs can use, or if you have, so
Mm.
yeah. But for this particular track, yeah, if you have ideas for something that you'd like to, do in robotics, feel free to apply. Like I mentioned, I decided to just go to experiment with the Unitree G1 for my particular application, simply because that's what you'll be given access to. And I thought, why not start playing around with the actual product so that, it's easier to integrate it in the product itself. But if you just have an idea, not really a coder as well, but you just, have demonstrated like very strong interest, like what the form says, apply. You never know. So
Hmm.
yeah, apply, guys.
It looks like there'll be a couple of winners, right? Because there's up to 10K, or are these the
10 teams.
expenses?
So they're picking, Virtuos is looking to shortlist 10 teams to come and build
Okay.
together in a state of the art robotics. So you see, like I mentioned,
Okay.
some
So
people
10
might be good with
teams.
um like the software side, and others might be good at
Mm.
like thinking of ideas that can be built. So you can then
Yeah.
pair, this entire group of people, because I mean 10 teams working on 30 robots.
Mm.
You're definitely going to have like some amazing things come
Breakout
out of
stuff.
that particular thing,
Mm.
and like you mentioned, whatever you're going to come up with in the end will probably should have like use cases in the industry. Like I mentioned earlier, like having robots that have like a persistent state, you know,
Yeah.
um, which, like I mentioned, is something I'm kind of applying or adding in like my application for something I'm playing with. It's supposed to enable
Hmm.
them to have like, even if you switch it off and you switch it on, or even if it doesn't have access to an API, or if it loses some of its circuits in terms of like part of its code, it's still able to function to a particular state without really, degrading or just failing catastrophically. So those are some of the things you can play around with. Memory, maybe
Mm.
how can you make the robots maybe learn faster? Like how do you go from vision um, to action quicker? Or, you know, it might be, if you're looking at like maybe physical um, use cases, like how can we create maybe like a robotics policy, which is something that they've also mentioned, that if you know how to create these policies, then it's a plus, you know, and yeah. So I encourage people to just do a little bit of research if you have ideas, and then see what is missing, see what people have been trying to work on, and see how you can create something that can be useful to people in the long run. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Lloyd. That was proper, man. That was a nice, full, holistic approach to showing people how they can go about this. And I think anybody
Yes,
who
man.
just has an interest, you don't have to be a robotics person, but from what Lloyd is showing us today, you know, once you sort of like, even just a builder, you can understand and follow everything you are saying, go to the right repos, go to the website, and you should be able to spin up something and be able to experiment. Okay.
Yeah.
And because we're almost out of time, I just want to quickly recap. Anyone building a mini app, remember, guys, you can one shot build a mini app. Go to neynar.com, neynar.com/studio. Okay. And you'll see you can prompt a mini app. And remember that you can add your API keys over here, add anything else that you want to use. So if you are integrating it into something else and it requires an API key or a webhook to integrate it to your OpenClaw, you can add it within your prompt. And then when you one shot it, you know, what you're going to have on the other end is a fully functional, web app, not web app per se, but a mini app. So it's going to come up on the base app store. It's going to come up on, you know, on Farcaster. Yeah, so I think you'd need to go to base.dev though to be able to, you know, make it appear on the base app. So you need to come and sign in the account association. Okay, you could do it on Farcaster, you could do it on base.dev. So if you go to base.dev preview, this is where you can preview, like, you know, if your app is functional. So you need to sign in with a base account. And then you can preview, like, troubleshoot the manifest, just see if your app is functioning properly. So you sign in, and then we'll just quickly show you how to preview an app. Okay, and then another thing is, if you are tracking transactions, there's something called builder codes that you need to add, which tracks your transactions. Okay, so if you log in, then you can open a new page and go to preview. Okay, once you signed in, and then over here you can, let me see, you can copy your app URL to the preview, and then it's gonna test your app. Okay, so it's gonna show you, you can check out this console log. So if it says ready, the ready is fine, then your app is accessible. If it says not ready here, then you have an error. Then you need to fix something that they call the ready call, but it's all in the base documentation. If you check out account association, once you've signed your account association, it's gonna show you. So everything that's got a green tick is being done okay. Anything that's faulty is gonna appear here in red. Okay. And then at the bottom here, there's something that says no index. So in your code, if you want your app to be searchable on the base app, you need to go and change your no index. It's in your manifest file, which is your farcaster.json file in the actual code. You're going to go and change the no index. Either you remove it or you change it to false. If it's on true, then it means it can't be found. It's when you are still testing your app and you don't want people to access it on the base app or something. So this is where you preview your app. And then on base.dev, this is where you add your app URL and you verify it. So you can add that app URL over there. And then this generated code, you need to copy this and paste it in your app, or go to your VS Code and paste it, and then deploy, and then come back here and verify. This is how you sign the manifest or the account association. Sorry. This is how you do the account association, which allows your app to be trackable, basically to add it onto base.dev. So you can track for, your analytics. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that's just really about it. There's documentation on the website, on the docs, base.org, on the docs.base.org, for having your app featured on the in the base app. Okay. And then also in the settings over here, if you want your app to appear on the leaderboard, we've now got leaderboards. You need to come and enable this. Okay. And then if you want to add other members, so if you're a team and you want to add other people to be able to have access to base.dev. So let's say you are a founder, but you're not technical and you have developers, you can come and add them over here. So this allows you to add wallet addresses. Okay, so you add their wallet address, then they will have access to your base.dev. And then the builder codes, this is the part where you add it. But then if you go to the base.org documentation, there is a section for builder codes, which explains what to do. Okay. And yeah, then the leaderboards are over here. Okay. So this is where you can now see all the top performing apps, you know, with the most users or most transactions, etc. So yeah, so base.dev also tracks your analytics, you know. So like if when you register your app, you can check all the analytics. I think we've been through that before. You check how many users are using your app, etc. Okay. Yeah, so that's just the basics of building mini apps. And then let me see, there was something else I wanted to share. Okay, so for OpenClaw, I came across something called agent.minimax.io. So they're saying it's an easy way to one-shot OpenClaw. Okay, so I have not played around with it, but I was reading about it, and they're saying it's an easy way to create your OpenClaw and integrate Telegram, etc. So do check it out because emergent.sh was giving a problem the last week or two. So let's check out, agent.minimax.io. If anyone wins this, please post and tag Base Southern Africa on on the socials and just keep everybody updated. Okay. And then for those that perhaps want to, maybe you wanna, code online, you don't have VS Code or whatever, there is VS Code online. So it's vscode.dev. So you can like literally come and run your code on a web browser. Okay, so you can build using VS Code on a web browser. I've not tried
That's
it, so I'm not
interesting.
sure. Yeah, I'm not sure
Yeah.
how advanced it is, but I think it probably would give you a lot of what you're looking for. And I think the last thing that I wanted to suggest was Claude.ai. Okay, so Claude.ai also virtual building with Claude. I don't know if it's been available, but I saw one of the guys saying they relaunched it, but because of
Oh.
what's happening with all the wars and etc., this was overshadowed with all the chaos that's going on. So now you can use Claude.ai online, and I'm not sure what the extent of what it can build or what it can do, but if it's Claude, I think it's gonna, pack a couple of punches. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I think that's just about, some of the guidelines from my end. Any last words from you guys? Shabs, we haven't heard much from you. Anything on robotics or any of these other platforms we've been showing, the OpenClaw, Claude.ai, or anything else?
Yeah.
Any comments?
So Claude, the online version came out about a month and a half ago, about a month ago. Yeah. It's actually pretty good. It doesn't have all the features that the CLI will have, but it's
Mhm.
actually just as good. It's basically Claude Code, and you run it in the browser. So
Mm.
you can use that. They've also got Claude Cowork that you can use within the browser as
Okay.
part of that Claude AI sort of suite. Also, you can download it onto your desktop, and you can run it from your desktop as well. Besides you running it from your terminal, if you want Claude Code to run in your terminal, that's like the best. The second kind of level would be you downloading Claude Code and running it, or running the Claude application, which will have Claude Code and Claude Coworker from your desktop. And then the browser is also as good, but a lot of the developers find a lot more joy in the terminal more than the other features.
Okay.
From the robotics perspective, I agree with both of you. I think Africa is very well positioned when it comes to taking advantage of automation and hardware. And I think we have so many use cases that it's going to be very difficult for us to not find them, right? So, like, for
Yeah.
example, we got security guard in the complex, right? What they do
Mm,
is they never actually engage any like dangerous situation per se, right? So
mm,
they are to be vigilant and to report everything in various different means and streams. But that could be robotics doing that, because when somebody comes into the gate, they need to sign them in. The robot can sign you in by just scanning you. If it can use its face because it's got vision, it's got voice, it's got
yeah.
hearing. It could use all of that,
Mm,
and throughout the night it can do the tours that all our security guards do. So then you sit and you think, okay, so if it's just a reporting tool, which is easy enough for you to be able to do, right?
mm.
Is it more profitable to have these robots than to have a human being? And I'm not advertising here to get rid of security guards.
You're pushing
I'm
for
just saying,
unemployment, huh?
hanging fruit, right? Like low hanging fruits, yeah,
Mm.
is like
Yeah, but
it's
I
so
guess from a
obvious.
visible policing approach where the robot becomes a police station. You know how in some neighborhoods they have a
Thank
police
you.
station at the corner, like a little truck with the
Yeah,
Like a
police,
neighborhood
and that kind
watch.
of helps. Yeah, like
it's
the
a
active
neighborhood
for
watch,
visible
Yeah,
policing
neighborhood watch.
that reduces
Yeah.
crime.
absolutely, right?
Yeah. So
But
if you have
then,
a big, mean robot, a scary looking one with spikes, you just need to make it physically scary, right? So that it's
Um, I
intimidating.
mean,
I
Google.
don't know
You
if I would
don't.
want
Then,
them to be
I
that
don't know if
scary,
you've
because
seen
there's
those little quadrupeds, the small ones. Like just having one of those, and that's why I mentioned like the battery life is one of the
mm,
things I feel like that's still low key restricting like extensive like mass adoption yet, because some of these can go for maybe like 4 hours, 5. But like if it can, imagine if it could go for like maybe 8 hours, or maybe making it. I feel like they've done that for some robots. I feel like when the battery is about to be low, it can go and like put itself at the charger. But like if they had like a longer
exactly.
battery span, let's say 12 hours for those little dog like robots, like it's easy to have that as like your security guard, just wiring
Yeah.
some night vision, um, you know, cameras and I mean, it
I
doesn't need to
mean,
attack you. When you jump
so
in, it's just taking a
it's
photo.
just a
While it's
reporting
just
tool,
still, it's sending your location. Like
yeah.
it's just one
I
because
mean,
tiny
we
robot.
have those fuel stations, the we call
Yeah,
them garages inside of the world. They're open 24/7.
yeah,
So these robots could like literally go there and get a battery change, even if it's those guys that work there, get trained and they're getting a bit of extra money. You could like literally open a franchise for battery changes. You remember back when cell phones were back in the days when cell phones were new, we used to have those public charging places where you take out your cell phone battery and they go and clip it and you charge. So that was a
mm.
business. People were paying to charge a cell phone. You pay one
Yeah, yeah,
dollar
yeah.
in those fast chargers. You come back after 15 minutes, your cell phone
It's
battery is
charged.
fine. Take your battery, you put it in. So that model works in Africa. It probably might not work overseas, but here in Africa, where labor costs are minimal, and people are willing to get involved with electronics, you could like literally have in those corner shops what you call the spaza shops. You could have
But yeah.
robotics for changing battery changing stations there, and the robots are doing active policing, especially in those like the townships where there isn't much visible policing, and there's high crime rates. So yeah, so use cases
but
definitely.
the use cases
Like
are
you were
there,
saying, Shaq,
right?
we can't run out of
It's,
use cases here because there are still so
and
many jobs. Even picking up garbage, bro. Like a lot of African cities don't have a very good waste management solution, so they're very dirty. You need robots to clean that. They might not be humanoid. There could be little cars that are driving around and sweeping, but you can already see how we need such stuff. So I think anyone in robotics maybe look beyond the unitary,
Yeah.
still submit some other ideas.
Yeah.
If, like Lloyd was saying, what if the unitary can transform like a little, I don't know, Optimus Prime into like a little vehicle, right? Have wheels on the knees and elbows, and then you can do other things, right? So
Yeah.
perhaps, if you're able to sort of figure out those other options,
Oh,
then
Google.
it can be, because what these guys are looking for is use cases. The
Yeah.
point of all these hackathons is how
Use
do you
case.
bring use cases? Because this is technology that's available. You can buy it, but it
Yeah.
doesn't have a use case besides the novelty, right?
Mm.
And the entertainment value right now, and
I
that,
think
uh,
from a use case perspective, Google, I think there's a lot. I think what I can already see as maybe an area where a lot of people will kind of slow down from an adoption perspective would be from an AI safety perspective, right? So
mm,
I like the fact that I've got a 24/7 security guard, which is a robot that doesn't get tired, and it might have like a Hive orchestration sort of
Yeah.
communication between it and other 3 or 4 or 5 robots, so that when one is tired and is going to go charge, everybody else knows and they rotate in some way, right? So that you
Mm-hmm.
don't have also like things happening in silo. You could include, let's say, a drone, you know, to work together with that. So if something is happening and they're like, oh, okay, so there's something happening on that side, I'll go on foot, throw up the drone. The drone is going, it's seeing, it's like on this side, okay, you intercept that side, we go this side. Guys, like this is doable, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's true.
We
That's a
literally
that's a good idea to
we
to to
literally
integrate
have
drones
you
and other
integrate
technology and
you
have this thing,
integrate
yeah,
it's
yeah,
Yeah.
all about, and what I'm seeing will probably be the issue is, one, it's going to be data silos. If you just build one and say it must be able to do this and then communicate to the next one, you're going to
yeah.
have a memory problem
Mm,
and you're going to have some sort of delay, right? So I don't want my data in silos. I want that Hive orchestration, right?
mm,
But with that as well, then we start thinking privacy, we start thinking safety, AI safety. How much do they record? How much do they keep and store? How much do they know about us? So that would be another area. But to be able to have a drone go up, this thing running, the dog going, bruh, you're not going to have any more poachers.
yeah.
You get what
And
I'm
I
Yeah.
mean,
saying?
this thing
Like,
could
who's
this
going to
thing
Yeah.
poach
could
a
be a
rhino
doctor
now?
as well.
That sort of stuff.
Oh, sorry, Shabs. You remember
Yeah.
during COVID, right? During COVID, a lot of frontline health workers, doctors and nurses, a lot of them
With
passed
people.
away
Yeah.
because they were
Yeah.
diagnosing patients and they got infections and they were affected, right? So now you can imagine in an era where we have these robotics and they can be used for diagnosis because it's already got
These
a
would have
camera, a
been
scanner, can check for your
everything.
temperature, you can do the basic diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
I think that can help even in areas, imagine areas where there's Ebola virus, diseases that are very contagious. You could bring
Yeah.
in
Frontline.
robotics or these robots to be able to help with that healthcare. And there's a doctor literally maneuvering it on the other end on a computer or whatever, on a joystick, and giving it instructions on what to do. So that could, keep frontline health workers safe, especially when there are new
Safer. Yeah.
pandemics and new diseases, or in patients that have very infectious diseases, right? Even in
Yeah.
remote areas, in villages where, we know a
I
lot of
mean,
Africa villages
Google.
don't have doctors.
Like
Yeah.
even just
Mhm.
like if you have people that are like already sick, maybe they're quarantined, like you've mentioned, like just somebody to
Yeah.
just take them food. Like these robots can do that
Exactly.
already. It can pick up your
Yeah.
tray and put it there without having any worry of getting sick. When it comes out, it's sanitized.
Mm.
It's back to normal. it's like you
Yeah.
mentioned, it stops what we mostly like suffer with, like infections and the like. So
Mm.
I feel we will find more use cases, especially like if we're looking
Definitely.
at it from like even like a more broader perspective of just like robots themselves. Like some of these are used in like robos, like when searching for people. There are certain uh
Mm.
parts where like if buildings crash, you as like a human being can't really go in there to try to search for
Exactly.
maybe like survivors. But like these robots can like maneuver in a particular way that they
Yeah.
are able to do stuff like that. So I feel like the more we make them better, the more we'll find even use cases that we haven't thought of
Yeah.
yet. Like mining, that's one thing that I've always thought. Like, I mean, I don't really like enjoy the fact that we dig holes in the earth, but like, if we still are going to do it, maybe using machines would be better than using humans, because we do have a lot of human lives that are lost because of
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
mining, man. So some
Yeah.
maybe
So,
some of
so
these could
guys,
be,
part
yeah.
of what my agent was doing like a research on what can be done from a use cases perspective, and it had three categories, which was mining, it was farming,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
it was what was the third category? Let me see if I can pick this up. Wildlife conservation and biological surveillance, right? Um,
mhm.
and all of these things, it's like it's things that are not so obvious, right? Things that we don't actually pay attention to. Like one of the use cases, it's like a microgranular soil and uh, moisture in rain-fed agricultural zone. Like I don't even know where it's trying to go with this, but it's given me like a whole like use case on what to do and how to do it. As it's crazy, right? What
Yeah,
can actually be done if you ask the right question. I think that the issue is you have to ask the right question in order for you to be able to get an interesting niche where you can use this stuff from. But it's definitely an area where in Africa we can take the lead.
yeah, definitely.
All right, thank you guys. I think we've had a very, and thank you, Lloyd. We've had a very good representation of what this robotics track is all about. There's so many young people that are always, you always see this kid invented a car, this kid invented this,
Yeah,
energy solution. They come up all the time, but they never really have that many platforms to, expose or explore or to test their knowledge. So this is a very good approach to be able to get all the tinkerers, and the people that are building mechanical things to come and experiment. So yeah, that's great. Yeah, so we can catch you guys. You can catch us on Thursday, 1 p.m. for office hours. And then if you need
yeah,
assistance with any of your code or any of your problems, you can go to the base Discord. It's called Build on Base. So that's Discord/Build on Base. Or you can come to our Telegrams, which is at Based Southern Africa. So that will be t.me/based Southern AF. Okay. Same as our X handle, our Twitter handle, right? The
yeah.
Telegram is the same handle. And yeah, post, tweet, comment, engage, reach out in those channels, and we can help you with anything technical. So Thursday office hours is our next one. We will catch you then. But before we go, I want to say thanks, Lloyd, for that presentation as well. Thanks, Shabs, as well for your input. Any last words before we go, guys?
Yeah, for me, guys, just don't be scared to experiment. We live in a world where you have the best tools, at your fingertips, so some of the things that you think are like maybe blockages are not really blockages when you actually pay attention to like the tools that you already have, because you have all these tools that just a few years ago we never had access to. So play around with them, experiment, feel free to ask. Like if you don't really know, you can reach out, like what Google always says or what Shabs always says. Feel free to reach out. We'll help out in whatever way we can. But yeah, experiment with these tools and bring your ideas. Sometimes it just starts from just an idea. So bring your ideas and let's build. Yeah.
Thank you, Lloyd. Shabs, last word or word of the day?
Yeah, man. I think experiment. I would say research, right? I'm
Yeah.
starting to find that research is probably strategically the most important thing that you can spend your time on right now. Simply
Yeah.
because everything else is there. Like the tooling is there.
Yeah.
Model intelligence is there. Maybe from a tokenization perspective, we are not there because the cost is still pretty high for us in this region. But guys, like you've got everything at your disposal. All you need is a curious mind in order to be able to execute. And that starts with your ability to research. So if you get your research right, you'll be able to find those niches. You'll be able to find your way around spaces like robotics. And definitely you'll do something incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you very much, gents. And to our viewers, thank you very much for tuning in. And hope you guys are building for base batches. It's a great opportunity. So just try your luck and be as creative as you can be. And, you might just be one of the many winners that are being flown out to San Francisco and building your startup. So thank you very
Yeah.
much, guys. We'll catch you on Thursday, office hours, 1 p.m. CAT. Have a good evening. Cheers.
Cheers. BM.